It's only a couple minutes.
Just give us a notice that you want to get started.
I think I'll start now. Okay. Hello, my good friends. My name is David Fraser McTaggart. My story is one of determination, patience, and, yes, triumph. With 2 unsuccessful attempts by my side, I turned to the courts and brought attention to the problem. Through the law, I successfully took it down. I lost 2 battles, but won the war. My past was also something of an adventure. In high school, I won national badminton championship 3 times. Also, in the 1960s, I moved to the USA and became a successful contractor and developer. However, there was an explosion at my firm that left an employee injured and brought me into semi-retirement. With nothing to do, I sailed for fun in the Pacific Ocean. That sailing is how I got into a position to help. It went like this. I was taking a short sailing break. My friend Gene Horn told me about an environmentalist group that was looking for help stopping French nuclear testing in the South Pacific. They were the Don't Make a Wave Committee, or Greenpeace as most would say. We talked about it a little bit, and I realized something. This shouldn't be overlooked. The French didn't have the right to take away sailing in the area. They certainly didn't have the right to do that much environmental damage. We decided to protest. You couldn't detonate the bomb with people inside, right? This is my vote, the Vega. However, the name Vega wasn't what we were looking for. We needed a name that would help us and bring attention to it. People would look at the boat and realize that's who's trying to help. The Greenpeace 3 was a nice name. It brought attention to who's trying to help. However, we couldn't legally nickname it. We couldn't legally name it. They just nicknamed it. The banner over the side. Originally, I didn't know much about nuclear testing. I thought it was just there. But as Gene and I were talking about it, I got really bothered. Now, with a new name and my determination, there was still a piece missing. A crew. We went out to get one. We found a lot of people wanting to go. Nigel Ingram, a sailor, wanted to go. Roger Hamilton, a former Royal Navy sailor, wanted to go as well. Ben Metcalf, a Greenpeace representative, also would go along. My friend Gene Horn, of course, wanted to go as well. But the New Zealand government, in an effort to delay us, wouldn't give him a passport. So at the very last hour, I called in a young environmentalist called Grant Davidson to help us. We had to sneak out of port early because the New Zealand government was finding so many ways to stop us. At our first stop, Ben had to leave to take care of some Greenpeace business. Plus, we weren't exactly friends. And Roger Hamilton got sick and had to stay behind. So it was just the tiny crew of Nigel, Grant, and I that continued on our voyage. It had been 70 days at sea before we finally reached the blast zone. The French realized we were there almost as soon as we entered. They were constantly watching us with warships and planes, and they got tired of waiting. We saw a balloon rise over Mururoa, signaling that detonation of the bomb was imminent. It caused pandemonium, utter pandemonium. We radioed in Greenpeace to tell them about this, how we saw the balloon rise, and we were going to stay. But, however, we were still really scared. We devised the plan that if we survived the blast, one of us would go up, being aware of the nuclear fallout, and steer us to safety. We'd draw straws when that came. But it didn't yet. We waited and waited. But there's a French warship shadowing us all the time, looking at our every move. That didn't help the overall mood. Already, the world was noticing us. 56 nations had gathered in Switzerland to vote against nuclear testing. Well, of course, we didn't know this at the time. We still waited and worried. Finally, after about a week, some soldiers came in an inflatable raft. We thought they were going to beat us. However, they were bearing a letter from the French admiral, demanding that we leave. Our response was something like this. Thank you for this generous letter this morning. We do not plan on leaving. We have the right to be here. And we want the world to notice this problem. The French were not happy with our response. Soon, every warship in the area was playing a giant game of chicken with us. Huge warships would start barreling straight at us, swerving at the last second. And sometimes 2 of them would box us in and let their wake wildly rock the Greenpeace 3. Now, we weren't sure if they were trying to scare us into leaving, trying to get us to the nearest island so that they could arrest us, or trying to ram us. Turns out, it was ramming. And when a tiny sailboat gets rammed by a giant warship, it's not pretty. Luckily, none of us were severely harmed, but the boat was. We couldn't continue. The French won that battle. They towed us and told the world that we sailed away voluntarily. However, I wouldn't give up then. I repaired the ship in the next year, and though I was nearly broke, me and my new crew, consisting of me, my girlfriend, Annie Marie Horn, Nigel and his girlfriend, Annie Marie Lauren, except not Grant Davidson, we couldn't find him. This time, when we went there, it was different. As soon as we entered the Forbidden Zone, a ship delivered a letter to us, and again, demanding that we leave. We declined, and soon soldiers came in an inflatable raft, and also another balloon rose. Like the soldiers, like last time, looked really scary, but this time, they're carrying weapons. We agreed that Annie and Mary would video and photograph everything, no matter what happened. They boarded the Greenpeace 3 and severely beat Nigel and me into unconsciousness. I was so badly beaten that my right eye was pushed back into my skull, nearly losing the sight in it. However, that was very good luck. If I hadn't had that wound, the French could have just put me and Nigel in a jail cell and waited for our bruises to heal. Except, with my eye needing medical attention, I had to get flown to hospital. They found Mary's camera and threw it overboard. However, Annie had done such a good job at hiding it that they didn't find it, and we smuggled it out. We brought the film in my eye to court. The French tried to pass off the ramming as a rescue, and they claimed I already had an eye injury. But we had photographic proof of them beating me. We won, and the French stopped their nuclear testing program from then on. There you have it. We lost 2 battles, but won the war. Just because I won that doesn't mean I stopped trying to help. I teamed up with Greenpeace and started to help many environmental problems, like the dumping of nuclear chemicals into the ocean, destruction of the whaling industry, etc. I made all protests of Greenpeace peaceful, yet stern and eye-catching, so they couldn't be ignored. In fact, many say I founded Greenpeace International. I created the Third Millennium Foundation to help the world like Greenpeace does. I've won the Onassis Award, the Kresge Prize, and the United Nations Environmental Programme's Global 500 Award. However, my story doesn't end very happily. I died on March 23, 2001 from an auto accident, but think not of that. My willingness to do what's right changed Greenpeace and the world. Thank you. Have a great day.